Martinez,
Present.
District 3, Vice Mayor and Vice Chair Silvera,
Here.
Mayor and Chairman Lopez.
Here. Please stand for the invocation by Pastor Stan Rising from Big Valley Grace Church. He will be in person. There he is.
All right, Pastor Gianosa sends his apologies for not being able to make it this evening. I appreciate the opportunity. Let's pray. Lord, I thank you for the vision that you have in Zechariah of the city where old men and old women will come back to Jerusalem, sit on benches, the streets, and spin tales, move around safely with their canes. A good city to grow old in. Boys and girls will fill the public parks laughing and playing. A good city to grow up in. Lord, that's my prayer for Ceres. That'll be a good place for our kids to grow up in, for us to grow old in. Be a place of peace, safety, security, health. Lord, I pray for all the elected leaders as they deliberate on the affairs of our city and provide the policy direction. Help us be a place filled with safety and health. Pray for the staff who work so diligently to help make these policy decisions and make this a better place to live. Lord, we also just thank you for the freedom of living in this country. We think of the tragedy of 9/11. Folks, our servicemen who are overseas trying to protect us and keep us safe, our law enforcement who patrol our streets. We ask your protection over them, your safety for them as well. So be with this council tonight as they deliberate on the affairs of Ceres. May you bless them and bless our city.
Before we move on, there is a correction on item number 3 on the consent calendar. Items number 10, 11, 12 on the minutes from July 24 should specify the motion carried instead of failed. There is no presentations today. Moving on to citizens communication. While the city council welcomes and encourages participation in the city council meetings, adopted rules allow no more than 5 minutes. Resolution number 2007-106 for expression of non-agenda items. Matters under the jurisdiction of the city council and not on the posted agenda may be addressed by the general public. However, California law prohibits the city council from taking any action on any matter which is not on the posted agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the city council. Citizens are entitled to address the city council on any agenda item subject to the 5-minute provision. Anyone wishing to address the city council must adhere to the rules of decorum. The rules of decorum are posted outside the chamber doors. Is there anybody in person that would like to make a comment? Please step up to the podium. Gavin.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City staff, community. Thank you. Gavin Klein, Congressman Duarte's office. Just want to give you all a quick update about 2 events that we have going on this week. Tomorrow, we'll be hosting our town hall in the city of Atwater. Going to be at the Atwater Memorial Building starting at 7 p.m. I know it's a little bit of a drive, but still wanted to go ahead and let you guys all know about this town hall tomorrow. And another big one we have this week for Thursday, August 31st at 6:30 p.m. is our Military Academy Information Day. As a congressional office, we have the opportunity to give nominations to different service academies. This is a great opportunity for high school students, freshmen to senior, who are interested in the service academy to be able to come learn more about the different academies, the branches. We will be having representatives from U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, as well the Coast Guard will be there tomorrow. So if there's anybody who's interested, please send them this information and let them know about this event. It's going to be a great opportunity. If there's any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or our office.
Thank you, Gavin. Is there anybody else in the public who would like to make a comment? Ma'am, your hand was raised. Please step up to the podium.
Hi, my name is Amy, and I'm trying to change it. What you have here? It's very about yard sales. Is this the right time to speak?
Oh, absolutely. This is not on the agenda, so yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Anyways, you have 2 times a year, and I would like to see if we could change it to 3 times a year at least. on a fixed income, and we always clean it up afterwards, and yard sales 3 times a year, I don't think it would hurt anything. I hear you can't do that. This ordinance, how do I go about changing it? I've talked to other people that have yard sales. They would like it changed too. I guess this is the first step, trying to get this ordinance changed.
Oh, that actually, this is probably something that city council hasn't looked at in a while. I don't know if who would be the right person to talk to about this, but is it really being enforced at the moment? Yes, it is being enforced. Okay, well, if that is the case, then I don't see why it wouldn't be an issue, but we do have some steps we have to go through in order to change that ordinance.
Yeah, with this economy and everything that's going on, it's just extra money.
Oh, absolutely,
Fixed income, yeah.
100%. I don't know. I did kind of mention to council member Vier an idea. What do you think? Want to share that idea? It's just that well being that we're having this conversation.
About maybe even proposing possibly a city-wide yard sale. We can talk about more during council referrals.
So yeah, so we'll go ahead and have the city manager get your contact information and then we'll go from there. Doug?
Okay.
As long as the city council's consensus looks like if everything's in agreement with that, not a bad idea. There you go. There's your direction. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day. Is there anybody else in the public that would like to make a comment?
Uniquely serious. Couple of meetings back, there was the voting decision to go with the new style of gazebo and park down the street from here. What I didn't ever hear was what it would cost to replicate this in wood and get the dimensions that they require. They wanted 24 feet or something like that and some other electrical stuff. And one gentleman piped in, I think on Zoom or something, said, that's more than what a house costs here in Ceres. And I think some people agree, but not enough people participate on these decisions. And I was wondering why nothing was ever brought up about a cost of replacement in wood. And then Mr. Silvera said that they would keep the gazebo possibly and put in another location. Well, this thing, if they would put in another location, there would have to be some upkeep on that too. And I think that, again, not enough people participate in these things. There would, it'd just be cost effective to put it in wood and replicate it piece by piece, not redo the pieces on there, take the same dimensions, maybe widen them or something for this requirement that for the 24 feet. Keep a little bit of our history back. Don't put something completely new there. We have no history left in Ceres, very little. And would you do this to the Whitmore house or to the Whitmore mansion? Would you tear that down and put it in metal or something? And maybe, oh yeah, there'd be a good place for a clamshell gazebo or something that was talked about too. And the other issue is, I think a lot of people here that live here in Ceres or work here in Ceres, they see a lot of problems. And it's been ongoing, but it seems like it's compound a little bit with the people running stop signs, traffic signs. They'll get up to a traffic light and run through the right-hand turn with no regard for anyone else. And I live off of Blaker and that covers from Service to Whitmore. And people are running these stop signs all the time, and some of them are very dangerous. I can't, I come over here 4 times a week. There isn't one day that I don't come over here that somebody's run one of those things in front of me, and they just don't seem to care at all. So I think, so much for thinking, right? It'd be nice if we could get some more traffic control out there. When was the last time you'd seen an officer stop somebody? But somebody told me today that they've actually seen during school hours, but these people act out beyond those hours too. You can see it's important to do something during the school hours for the speeders and stuff like that on Whitmore or the other streets that schools are on. But this is an ongoing thing. It happens on weekends. Saturday, Sunday's no exception. People, they just blatantly go through those things. And again, we talk about, well, nothing's going to happen to correct things unless somebody gets severely injured or killed. And that's when every city in America attention is drawn to. But we do have a problem. You know, you can talk amongst yourselves. You probably already know, see them every day, people running the signs and the traffic lights. Problem. Hope none of us here are involved in any of those things or anyone we care or love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Yakely, some comments on the gazebo project. Must have been some misinterpretation of what I said because it's actually the opposite of that we could move it somewhere else. The Public Works has done a great job over the last few years of just basically putting Band-Aids on that gazebo to keep it safe for the public's use and for all the bands and all the different uses. Like everything, it has a shelf life. That thing's almost around 50 years old, as far as we could come up with. It's all, the bottom's all made out of wood, the base is made out of wood, and they keep replacing it over and over. It's time to put a new one in, and it's going to be, in my opinion, a wonderful option for Ceres and for that park. We use that park for all of our events, and having a little bit larger gazebo that's designed a little bit different will be a huge, huge asset to the community. So no, it can't be moved. It will fall apart, fall down. And I think Sam from Public Works would echo that comment. And it's just time for a new one. Thank you.
I'm not wanting to be part by part. I was just saying that it could be replicated totally out of wood. And some of the homes here around, look at the mansion over there, the Whitmore house, they got to be over 100 years old, right? Wood can last a long time as long as it's upkeep, painted, and anything that goes wrong with it, fix it. Just like other things in our life, fix it before it gets bad. But to take away some of our history, you know, and design it a different way, probably people are going to notice that. And when you have some history in your community, I think people are proud of that.
I think, Mr. Yakely, once you see the new design, you'll be happy with it. It's going to look very, very similar to the one we have, just made safer with new power systems, better access for the reasons we use it. And like I said earlier, it's been there for a long time and there's really no way to repair it. So I think you'll be happy when you see the design of the new one.
Is this going to be presented to the public so they can vote on it?
Like everything that we do, it will be here at a council meeting.
Like publication in newspaper and stuff like that?
It'll be at a council meeting on the agenda for whoever that wants to make a comment or not about it once we get to that point.
Well, I hope you get a hold of the Ceres Curriculum, let them put it something so people can have the chance to attend, not depend on just something on the internet to look at. Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the public who would like to make a comment? Anyone on Zoom?
There are no hands raised on Zoom.
Did we receive any emails?
We did not.
Okay, public period is now closed. Moving on, no appointments. Is there any conflicts of interest from the city council? Seeing none. Moving on to consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are considered routine in nature and will be enacted by a single motion unless otherwise requested by an individual council member or public for special consideration. Otherwise, the recommendation of staff will be accepted and acted upon by a roll call vote. Is there anyone on the council that would like to consent item pulled for discussion? Seeing none. Is there anybody from the public that would like to pull an item for discussion? Anybody on Zoom?
There are no hands raised on Zoom.
I bring this back for motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar, items 1 through 13.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Casey,
Aye.
Councilmember Vieira,
Aye.
Councilmember Martinez,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Silvera,
Yes.
Mayor Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Moving on to public hearing. Item number 14, establishing the annual assessment levy for the 2023-24 fiscal year on business in the downtown area defined in the Ceres Downtown Revitalization Area Board, CDRAB, annual report for the activities and programs of the Ceres Downtown Revitalization Area Board for fiscal year 2023-24. Tamara, this one's all yours.
Well, good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Tamara Spade. I am the Economic Development Manager. On August 14th, at the city council meeting, the city council approved the annual report of the Ceres Downtown Revitalization Area Board for the fiscal year 2023-2024 and set a public hearing for tonight, August 28th, to consider approving the levy of assessment for the Ceres Downtown Revitalization Area for fiscal year 2023-2024. The proposed method of assessing businesses located in the district are based on gross receipts, and gross receipts of less than 50,000 per quarter are assessed $10 per month. Businesses with gross receipts of 50,000 or more per quarter are assessed $25 per month. And businesses with gross receipts of 200,000 or more per quarter are assessed 25 per month, in addition to 0.001 gross receipts. And then there's also membership fee for banks and savings and loans is a flat 500 per year. Gasoline service stations with gasoline sales of 800,000 or more per year is another $500 per year, plus $25 per month. Residential, there's no fees, and home occupation permits is the same as 1, 2, and 3 that I read, and 4. The levy assessment for approval are the original assessments established in 1989 when the formation of the Parking and Business Improvement District, known as the PBID, was originated. It is estimated that the annual assessment will generate approximately $9,454 in the fiscal year 2023-2024. The projects planned for this year include the provision of electricity for streetlights, maintenance of streets, trees, and landscaping, and the rotation of seasonal banners, estimating expenses of $25,991. The activities and programs initiated and funded by CDRAB, the Ceres Downtown Revitalization, are of vital importance to the continued success of revitalizing efforts in downtown Ceres. Collecting the assessment is the only method to fund these projects and keep downtown clean, well-lit, and supports the public and private efforts to promote this important commercial district in Ceres. The revenue also contributes to promotional and beautification efforts benefiting all downtown businesses. So tonight, staff recommendation is to consider approving the levy assessment on businesses located within the CEDRA areas boundaries, which we have up there. And the boundaries are generally including the area between 6th Street to the east, Pine Street to the south, El Camino Avenue east to 6th Street. And this area covers approximately 10 city blocks and 36 businesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tambra. We now open the hearing to the public. Is there anyone in the chambers or attending on Zoom that would like to make comment on this item? Please step up to the podium.
I'd just like to know, has this been introduced to these people already in the city? And if so, what kind of feedback you getting from them?
Yes, they were all notified, and I was hoping that a few would be here tonight so we could have these conversations. We have not raised the rates or made any, since 1989. So going forward, what I would like to do is start holding meetings once a quarter with the downtown business owners so we can have these conversations and talk about business improvements and what we can do.
So is there a time factor on this
For the meetings, so
to initiate this?
yeah, it's already been initiated.
Okay.
I've been downtown. Last week I was downtown. I went to every business and we're just trying to get a date and something that would be accommodating for people that are working during the day. So we're looking at maybe lunchtime or after hours.
Are you getting feedback from the owners? The
Yeah,
properties of the
I
businesses?
think everybody is really enthusiastic about it and they want input. Everybody wants to have these discussions and how to
What I'm
benefit
really-
downtown.
What I'm really asking for, is there more negative than positive? I mean, people, when it comes to a little price, whether it's garbage or whatever, they get a little irritated.
I've heard both.
All right.
Yeah, but
I
we're
think-
going to make it better.
Yeah, you work for the city. Talk too much. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anybody else? Is there any hands raised on Zoom?
There are no hands raised on Zoom.
Did we receive any emails?
We did not.
Okay, with that being said, we now close this public hearing and bring this back to the council for discussion, questions, and actions. Council, any comments or questions? Being none. Okay. Moving for a motion for
Move to
an action.
approve 14 on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Casey,
Yes.
Councilmember Vieira,
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Silvera,
Yes.
Mayor Lopez,
Yes.
motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on to new business, item number 15, approving and authorizing execution of assumption agreements with new owner of the Rivercrest apartment complex. And this will go to the city attorney, Nubia.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Before you tonight, we have a resolution as the board for the successor agency of the former redevelopment authority for the city of Ceres. What you have is an assignment and assumption agreement with a new property owner or an entity that's looking to become a property owner of the Rivercrest apartment complex project. This project was originally approved in the early 2000s, and it was part of a loan assistance program between the city and its redevelopment authority agency capacity. At the time, the former redevelopment agency authorized a loan of $600,000 to the owners at the time, which is still technically the current owners, is the Rivercrest Limited Partnership. And one of the requirements in using the redevelopment money was that there needed to be a covenant recorded on the property to maintain qualifying affordable housing. Again, if you remember, redevelopment had very specific criteria for the use of these public funds. And at the time, the property owner agreed to it. A covenant was recorded on the property. And following that original loan, they were required to submit annual reports to the successor agency regarding certain criteria for housing, including occupancy, rent levels, gross income received from the project. And the covenant at the time that was recorded required the covenant and the requirement to maintain the affordable housing for 40 years. And as part of that loan agreement, they were also required to make periodic payments towards the loan. Fast forward now to 2023, and the ownership group is looking to sell off the project to the OSM Rivercrest Limited Partnership. This entity has been vetted by the state, and there's a specific state agency that oversees low-income housing tax credit allocations. That's the California Tax Credit Allocation Committee. And it appears they've done their due diligence in researching this developer and new owner and have agreed to the transfer as long as the new entity takes over its obligations with the city, including the covenant. So the new property owner who's looking to take over has requested that the city approve the transfer, and that is what you have before you tonight. It's the assignment and assumption agreement. Staff has worked with representatives from both the buyer and the seller on this. The most important thing to note in the assignment and assumption agreement is that it requires that in addition to taking over the housing obligation to maintain the affordable housing allocation, the current owner, which is the seller, must also repay the outstanding loan balance, because that became an important point as part of this transaction. In looking through the records, they're delinquent and they do owe interest and in the outstanding amount. And staff in preparing this did have conversations with the representatives from the buyer who confirmed with the seller that as part of the transaction, they would be taking on the entire obligation. The seller will be paying it off as part of the sale of the property. So basically, as part of escrow, those funds will go in to cover all the debt associated with the property. That condition has been included specifically in the assignment assumption agreement, which makes it clear that the city will not sign off on the transfer, will not allow for the the covenants to continue unless that debt is paid. So that is something that has been incorporated into this agreement as well. And that's essentially the assignment assumption agreement and resolution before you tonight. And I can answer any questions the council may have.
Thank you very much, Tubia. And now open this up to the public. Is there anybody in the chambers that would like to make a comment on this item? Seeing none, is there anybody on Zoom?
There are no hands raised on Zoom.
Okay, public period is now closed. I bring this back now to City Council for any discussions and questions and or actions. Council? Rosalinda? Is that you don't have to push the button, you're good.
Just want to confirm what was said. It is not extending the current terms of repayment. It's just having to bring up to current, establishing the current loan or current agreement.
Exactly. So as part of this sale, the seller will pay off the entire loan. And the only obligation moving forward will be maintaining the housing allocation required under the covenant, which is still set to expire within the expiration of those 40 years. So February 18th of 2044.
Thank you. Unless there's any other comments or questions from the council, I'm looking for a motion.
Move to approve number 15 on the agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Agency Member Casey,
Yes.
Agency Member Vieira,
Yes.
Agency Member Martinez,
Aye.
Vice Chair Silvera,
Yes.
Chair Lopez.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0.
very much. Moving on to discussion items. Preliminary report on the Economic Development Strategic Plan 2023-27. And this goes back to you, Tamara.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight, Vicky Dahl, which is the principal with Shaven Concepts, a company that we consult with, will be presenting the preliminary report for our Economic Development Strategic Plan 2023 through 2027. I also wanted to add that finalizing the Economic Development Strategic Plan, staff will be holding 2 public workshops in the week of September 11th for public input. I'm still working on the specific dates and times, but we'll make sure to get that out to the public. So I think Vicky's probably ready. I see that she's online.
Vicky, are you online?
There we go. I am. Got
We
myself.
can
on-
hear you.
Okay. All right, let me share my screen. There we go. And so we can see it okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. So thank you. My name again is Vicky Dahl. I'm with Chabin Concepts. We're an economic development consulting firm located in Chico, California. And I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present our recommendations as well as the opportunity to do it virtually since I came back from vacation with a COVID souvenir. So that would keep us all safe. I'll just stay home. So I'm presenting tonight on behalf of my partner on this project, Don Sheldall. He is with DSG Advisors, their international site selection firm. So these again to the on the right. There we go. Is that better? Got full screen?
No, ma'am, you split screened it.
Yes, thank you. It's a little small.
Okay. I'll go back. There we go. Okay. So again, these on the left side, these as a reminder of what the objectives were that were in the RFP that was issued several months ago. And our objective for the updating the economic development work plan. So our approach to this type of project includes desktop research, just kind of taking a look at the economics and some of the demographic trends that are happening both within the city of Ceres and within the county and the region. Also includes a lot of personal and telephone interviews And Don and I spent a couple of days in Ceres, meeting with folks, traveling, driving around and visiting a lot of the sites and downtown area. And all of this is done. Once we get on site, a lot of what we're doing here is, besides putting eyes on things, is to validate what we've learned in the research and in the interviews. And all of this information is really the basis for the recommendations and for the work plan. So again, part of our approach is to do a gap analysis, or you may maybe refer to as a SWOT analysis, the strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, threats. And what we do is we look at the community from the site selector or business's point of view. And these items are typically what they look at. Some are more of a priority for certain businesses, depending on the individual business and the specific industry. And this list is kind of a short list of some of our findings from the gap analysis. So the gap analysis, the intent is to identify what you have. What is it within the community that makes you competitive? What are your assets? What are the challenges? And what are the opportunities? Then we create the strategies and an action plan that takes advantage of the assets that you have, addresses or tries to mitigate any of the challenges that you have, and then prepare you for the opportunities that we've found. So, as with any community, there are challenges. You've got kind of limited market-ready sites for industry. The talent pipeline is, and the talent pipeline, kind of the early workforce, so age 0 to 19, say, so it's those folks that are going to be joining the workforce soon. That's kind of flat. There's no growth in that age category. And that's not uncommon. We're seeing that in a lot of communities, almost all the communities that we're working with. It's a little bit better when we look at the county overall. We've got a little bit more growth in that age bracket. The consensus, we didn't get a clear understanding or a clear feeling that there was really a lot of consensus on the economic development goals. And I think that may be because when we were there, it was a fairly early in the year. There hadn't been a new council, hadn't been a lot of meetings. So we didn't concern ourselves with that too much. I think that will work itself out. And some of the opportunities, what we did is looked at the assets that you have, like the future industrial property that has been identified in several of your documents. And we thought that was a nice piece of property to develop and start promoting, particularly for these types of industries. And we chose these industries because they have a synergy with your existing industry base. They're also going to help to diversify your economy. They're going to add higher paying and higher skilled jobs. And hopefully they'll reduce the number of residents who are commuting out of the city, which is really high. According to, I think we use census data, but there's 84% of the working residents in Ceres are commuting out of the city for work. And 29%, almost 30% are commuting out of the county. So it would be nice to get them to stay and work home. In the report or in the plan, we've given you the rationale for the recommendations for each of these industries. We've also suggested some of the value proposition that you can use in your marketing and your business outreach. So the value proposition is a statement that answers the question of why a particular business should locate in Ceres rather than anywhere else. And there are proof points that go to each value proposition. So it may be that It may be your location, which is excellent location. You've got access to several highways, airports, deepwater ports. You've got lower operational costs. You've got a good base of workforce and education and training resources. So again, we've given you information and kind of a primer on defining and really clarifying what those value propositions are. And that would be an important thing to have ready and to use in all of your different marketing and messaging. So the work plan has, these are the sections of the work plan, basically, and there are several specific tasks within each of these areas. So some of the tasks are, oh, I just see a typo here. Sorry, I'll fix that. Some of these activities are longer term, like preparing the land for job creating, job development, and for some of the infrastructure improvements and some that are already going on. Many of the activities, actions are more of a collaborative effort with regional and workforce development partners like the Alliance and the CCV EDC, the California Central Valley EDC, Team California, and your workforce development folks to do business outreach to the existing businesses and marketing and messaging to the external audiences. So often, because there's a lot in the recommendations, and there's always a lot to do in economic development. So a new plan with a lot of short-term, long-term, ongoing, one-time type tasks can kind of be a little bit overwhelming. So we try to give some direction to staff and where we think you should start within the things that you should try to accomplish or at least initiate within the first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And by then, hopefully you're kind of on a roll and things are moving along. So we've also given you or given staff some direction and information on some of the tools and the resources that would be helpful. So whether that's updating the website, some of the specific information that should be on the website for economic development. We've recommended a property database system that would work well for both in industrial and in retail, and has a lot of information that can assist staff in preparing proposals. We've got, as I said, the key message platform with the business, the value proposition. We've got some direction on developing business cases on why certain businesses, certain industries have been successful in series. And there are some demos that I'm happy to set up for Tamara, for Christopher, whoever is interested to see the property database. I think that would be a good tool for you. And I'm always available to help set up with that and answer any other questions for staff. So that is kind of quick. That is the plan in a nutshell. And I understand that we're going back out for some public comment. So I'm happy to be available to work with staff on making any sort of edits or changes that might be necessary at that time. So now, any questions, comments from anyone?
Thank you. Tamara, before I move on, is there anything you wanted to add? Okay. Public period is now open. Is anybody from the public who would like to make a comment? Tamara, did you grab the mic like you wanted to say something? My apologies. No? Okay. Is there anyone in the chambers? Seeing none? Seeing nothing here on Zoom? Okay. The public period is now closed. I bring this back now to the council for any discussions or questions. Council? Okay, seeing none. Now, is there any actual action for this today? None? Okay. Okay, so we will, since there's no comments and questions, we will move on. Thank you very much for everybody and the presentation. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. Moving on to, is there any council member referrals? Ms. Rosalinda, I was not surprised to see your name.
Well, I know she brought up the yard sale ordinance, and it's been a while. I know in the past, we get two, we have to prepay. Problem I had in the past was the fact that it actually ended up raining or windy or just like a freak storm, and I already paid and I can't reschedule. So I would like either maybe do like a citywide and everyone, so no one's out in the event, like my case, we had a crazy windstorm that weekend and rain. That I wasn't expecting, but I would like to maybe just do a citywide one, so that way we don't have to worry about permits and signs and people forgetting to put signs that aren't supposed to be posted up anyways. And just making it just a one city, one time thing, and you know, even if they still have the two, but then we just at least know, I know a lot of our neighboring cities do the same thing, and I would like us to maybe consider that.
I think that Doug has received that direction. Make it happen, sir. Appreciate it. Rosalinda, thank you.
Couple other things, and I catch Doug off.
You're good.
The downtown streets team, and I forwarded you a couple emails. I didn't know if we were okay with possibly they were willing to at least discuss with the city. If we wanted to make something like that happen, what we would need in order to make that happen. They wanted to meet with us and our staff and, you know, even council without breaking Brown Act issues. Wanted to see if that was okay for us to move forward with, after our last homeless discussion that we had, and I think we have coming up.
Doug, I was under the impression that you said you were moving on that already, or there's, yes?
Actually reach out a couple of different. We're reaching out to a couple of different places, and I'll get with Captain Perry and we'll start this team also to talk to them about options.
Okay, yeah, because she emailed some dates and I didn't hear that. And then lastly, and was we have had some question about the housing and redevelopment, and there's, I guess, possibly some funding, but it doesn't look like, and now that we have a grant writer, our last housing and redevelopment policies was last written, updated in 2009, which has been a few years. I was thinking maybe we could work on getting that updated to something that's going to be something that the grant writer, as well as the city, could utilize, be a little more effective with.
And Christopher, you took those notes from earlier. Is there anything you would like to add to that? Just to make sure. And I'll looking at the city council for consensus. Is everybody okay with that? Looking to the update. Okay, Christopher?
Just to clarify, are you talking about the housing rehabilitation program?
I think it has a little bit of everything in there because it also has the down payment assistance program that was also in that same one that's on the website from 2009. And if that's the case, I know everything has changed since 2009, and I would like to at least get it updated so that way our grant writer, especially her, has the correct information, as well as staff and council members ask a lot of questions.
Doug?
So, Mr. Mayor and council members, we can take a look at that and we'll bring it back to you. And
I'm sure it's going to take some time.
Yeah, it's going to take. a
Yeah,
little bit of
that's
time to
fine.
Have the council confirm everything. When we bring it
Thank you,
back.
Rosalinda, for those some good referrals there. Is there anything else?
Oh, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other council members? Seeing none, moving on. Moving on to reports. I'll start off with just briefly handing it over to Christopher just to give us a quick little update on the Crosstown Showdown, and then I would like to bring it back to council for any discussions.
Thank you, Mayor. This past Saturday, we had a Crosstown Showdown Parade in downtown Ceres. It was the second year that we've had this event. The first year was around Smyrna Park. This year we had it at Whitmore Park. It was a really successful event. A lot of people, hundreds of people showed up, both Ceres High School and Central Valley High School. I'd like to thank some key people that or organizations that helped, including Bertolotti Disposal, the fire department, police department, public works, recreation, economic development. The school district did a lot of the heavy lifting for this, but we were in close collaboration with them. And if it wasn't for the folks at the city and at the school, this was a joint effort. It wouldn't have happened. Also, Shane Parson just with a trolley for the dignitaries, and we had next year. We're looking at probably having this event in October due to the change in the scheduling for the football game between the two schools. Will probably happen in October, and well ahead, make sure that all the departments know about it. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Christopher. Now I bring this back to council for any comments on the Crosstown Showdown actual game this Friday. I'll start from this side here. Anything to say, Martinez?
Just that I'm looking forward to a good game. It's the high school that's in my district gets to, host the game. I believe the mayor coaches one of the teams that'll be out there, so it'll be fun. We're just looking forward to a good game.
Awesome, awesome. Where?
Yeah, sorry to miss the parade, et cetera, on Saturday. Had a blast last year, getting everybody riled up and jumping up and down and cheering. But it's at Ceres High School this year. Ceres High School is actually going to be the visitors. So go out and support the Bulldogs when they crush Central Valley. Thank you.
Tickets are on sale now. And the only thing I have to say to both teams that whoever is the most deserving team will come out on top. And that is the one that puts in the most effort and puts in the most work. And I know that Ceres High doesn't want to lose the trophy. And I know that Central Valley High School wants to get it back. Councilmember Rosalinda? No actual, no bets or?
Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
Fellow council members. I have to be in favor of Ceres. They won last year. I'm with Brett Foley winning in this year, and there's no hard feelings, but the Bulldogs will keep the trophy.
Awesome. I love it. I love the fact that everybody on the city council is very,
Mr.
very.
Matt, I'd also like to say I'm supporting Ceres High there in my
Oh,
district.
well, I kind of knew that.
I think you might be the only Central Valley.
I think so. Yes.
Central
Oh,
Valley
you're
right
also
here.
supporting. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
my
she is?
son and my nephew both
Okay,
play
so-
Central Valley.
Okay. Well, with that being said,
Hawk blood here.
here you go. With that being
Free tissues will be available for the Hawks after the game.
With that being said, I hope that everybody who's watching this realizes how much we care about this community and how much we all care about football. And I think that the Crosstown Showdown Parade is a clear example leading up to Friday Night Lights of how much the city of Ceres really cares about what we're doing with football. Is there anybody here? I know the chief's not here, so I won't call anybody. Anybody else that wants to like to make a comment on that? If not,
I coached the chief in high school football at Ceres High School, so it's pretty well known who would be
so he's
supporting
not here
at this point.
here to defend himself, but we know Chief where he stands. So anyways, Daniel, did you press your button once again? Okay, so one more comment. Okay, so then I am done. So the floor is yours.
I just want to say that last week I had the privilege of attending the police officers promotion ceremony where I got to see two of these gentlemen in the room get promoted. There was 7 officers that were sworn that were promoted, 1 administrative person also. It was a pleasure to be a part of. It was an honor to witness. I got to take my middle son who had a blast getting to see all the officers, and I really appreciate being a part of that. So thank you guys.
Vice Mayor, anything? Rosalinda, any reports?
As for economic, the EDAC, the 30-day open period regarding our economic development here in the county is now open. Please look online if you have any questions or want to look forward to what's going on in the county and our key development. I also had the pleasure of going door to door in my district to some of the businesses just to see where they're at, if they had any questions or concern, and just kind of see where it was. And then lastly, regarding economics, the event that we had here, that we started back in January with the STEP program or Stanislaus Equity Partners, they actually finally had their Shark Tank type event where they actually had 2 winners that they actually gave cash prizes to for their plan for development. So it was a pleasure to be part of that. Thank you, Tamara, for allowing that to happen. I heard you were there for the final one here in Ceres. I did make the Turlock one as well. Regarding housing, I did meet last week with the county director regarding the housing, which is how I found our program or things a little outdated. And I look forward to kind of working on what we can do to try to get some of this development done here in the county. And then lastly, regarding public safety, I as well was with Mr. Martinez, our council member Martinez at this ceremony. It was an honor to be there. Thank you, everyone that was there. You guys do a lot, and I know you answer a lot of my questions and phone calls, and I appreciate that. And I look forward to my next ride along, which I've already put an email in, a little bug in on. Looking forward to spending another night out on the street. Thank you.
Mr. Casey?
Our next council meeting, I think, is on the 11th of September. And the American Legion and the VFW going to have a ceremony that day. The ceremony will be before our council meeting. And I encourage the Series Courier to promote that. You know, our country sometime in time forget about the sacrifice that our public service people, the police and the fire department, and the health people that were there in 9/11, sacrificed their lives to help people. And our country was caught off guard. And it's something that we should not forget. So I encourage, again, participate in that ceremony on 9/11, and I encourage the Series Courier to promote. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on, City Manager, anything to report, sir?
Mr. Mayor and council members, let you know that over the past few days and moving up today, we've had a problem for our third-party vendor for our utility billing. We've been putting out posts via the Recreation Department, Economic Development, Police, our webpage, and also through our water billing. That what we're letting everybody know that since we are responsible for the late notifications on their bills, we are foregoing any late fees or shut-offs for the month of August, as long as they make the August bill paid by September.
Okay, thank you very much. City Attorney,
Nothing to report tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
anyone from the departments? Just a bunch of smiles. I'll take that. I don't think that our supervisor is online, is he? Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. We will now adjourn this meeting and go to closed session for conference regarding a public employment, California Government Code 54957, titled City Manager and Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release, California Government Code 54957. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this regarding this closed session item? Seeing none, after the closed session, I will return to report out. Thank you. This meeting is now adjourned. Welcome back. Direction has been provided to staff. Thank you.